Hi, Verbling. My name is Michaela. I'm from Phoenix, Arizona. And today we're reading an article and discussing stress. So, the topic of our article is Don't Sweat the Small Stuff, which is an idiom we'll be discussing today. Ugur, or no, I'm sorry, Essen, welcome to class.
Hello, welcome. I'm not welcome. You're welcome.
It's good to see you again, Essen.
Thank
How's your
you.
week going so far?
Um, it's boring. I'm waiting for the school to start, and actually, I have nothing to do, so it's boring.
Wow, when does school start for you?
Next week on Wednesday.
Well, you should be enjoying this time.
Yes, actually, I am. I'm enjoying. I did, but now it's totally boring because it's the fourth month and I have vacation, so uh,
You're
the long
ready to get
term.
active.
Yes.
All right. Well, that's exciting. You have school starting next week. Very cool. What are you going to school for?
I'm sorry. I'm having a connection problem. Can you repeat again, please?
Sure. What are you going to school for? Is it university or?
Yes, it is university. I'm going to be fourth grade this year, so it's going to be very tiring year probably because
Mm-hmm.
I will try to be graduate. So
Yeah. So you're ready to be done, right? You want to get started so that you can finish.
yes, yes. But we will see if I can or I cannot. We will see. I have no idea.
Awesome. Well, that's an exciting year.
Yes, it's gonna be. I think so.
Very cool. So I'm going to put the article in the chat box, and you can open that whenever you're ready. And Rafael, welcome to class.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you, Rafael?
I'm fine. I miss studying English.
Yeah. Have you been taking a few days off?
Yes, because I had a lot of things to do, so I had no time to study English. But now I'm back.
Well, we're glad to have you back. Essen was just telling me the opposite. She said this week she has very little going on, and next week she's going to be really busy. So you guys are opposite, but we're glad to have you here.
Thank
Hello.
you.
Javier, welcome to class.
Hello, how are you?
Good. How are you, Javier?
Fine. Fine, thanks.
And what do you have going on this week? Are you busy or are you very free?
No, I'm really busy.
What do you do?
I'm studying MBA. It's really hard.
Ooh, good luck. So you have a
Yeah.
lot to do.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for taking time out to come to class. I put the article in the chat box for you guys. And to get started, we're going to discuss an idiom because it's in the title of our article. The title is Best Not to Sweat the Small Stuff because it could kill you. So we're going to talk about the idiom, don't sweat it. Don't sweat it. Does anyone know that idiom already?
No.
No
Is
one?
it related to get stressed?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I don't know, but it gave us that idea.
Yeah, exactly. It has to do with stress. So Antonio, welcome to class.
Hello, thank you.
Good to have you here with us, Antonio. We're talking about an article which I put in the chat box for you guys, and we're now talking about the title, which has the idiom, don't sweat it. Have you heard that phrase before?
No, I didn't listen before.
All right. So, Rafael gave us a good tip. It has to do with stress. So, Rafael, can you give a guess if I say don't sweat it? What am I telling you?
Uh, okay, relax,
Yeah,
right?
relax, don't worry.
Okay.
Right. So, our article says don't stress about small stuff because it might kill you. So that's the premise of our article. Now I want to know, what are the things that stress you guys out, big and small? And I'll start with Antonio. Antonio, what stresses you out?
Well, maybe when I have to do a lot of things, but however, I like to because I like the routine. It's a very contradictory, but I don't know. It's relaxed for me, but to is stressing for me.
Okay. So when you're very busy, you kind of can zone out. So on some levels it's nice, and on other levels it's stressful.
Yeah.
Is there a time of year when you're the most stressed out or busy?
Yes, but yes, when I have yes, when I really busy, I can. It's easier to be stressed.
All right. Thanks, Antonio. Javier, you're up next. What stresses you out? Big stuff and small stuff.
I'm stressed out with a situation that I can control. For example, when I have so many things to do that I can deal the situation, that stress me.
Yeah, I hate that. When you lose control, that is very stressful.
Yeah.
You can't do anything, but you do feel stress. All right. Thanks, Javier. Rafael, what stresses you out?
I don't like when I cannot finish what I have been planning. It's really hard, but what I don't like is when people ask me to do a lot of things at the same time. I can't, because you try to do a lot of things at the same time and you don't finish anything. So I need to do one thing at a time.
Focus. That's a good idea. I'm a multitasker, but you're right. Sometimes I start 5 things and I don't finish any of them. I'm like halfway through all of them instead of just doing one thing. Bad habit. All right.
Yes.
Essen, tell us what stresses you out.
And for me, of course, it's a final term. I it's really stressful, and I think it's stressful than everything I can imagine.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. For students, that last semester is like the crunch time, right? It's
Yes,
crazy. There's so much to do. And
yes,
also
definitely.
it's hard to expect that students can do all that work. You get like 7 tests all in 1 week, and that's a lot.
But for in my university, it's kind of different. I have 8 lessons for a year, but the final term takes a month, sometimes more than a month. So uh, I have to, I'm going to be responsible about everything that I learned in the year. So it's really huge for every class, and it's really hard.
Mm-hmm. All right. So we're going to start on our article, but before we read the article ourselves, there's an audio that we're going to listen to get us ready to discuss some of these topics. So if you guys look underneath the title, there's a blue square and a blue square, white triangle. If you click that, you should get to listen to the audio story. And before you guys go off and listen, I have a couple questions for you that I'd like you to try to answer while you're listening. So the first one is, what are the 2 different kinds of stress? In the very beginning, they mention that there's 2 main sources of stress. So I'd like you guys to listen for that. And what are some effects of stress? So those are your first 2 questions that when you listen through the first time, I'd like you to try to answer those. And I'll put them in the chat box for you as well, just in case you forget. All right. Let's do this. So we're going to click here and listen. It's 4 minutes and 30 seconds long. If you're really nervous or you feel like you're not ready for this listening assignment right now, you can always look at the transcript as well, which gives it to you word for word what they're saying. But I recommend the first time through just to listen and try to pick out main words and some main ideas, even if you don't hear everything. Is everyone ready?
Mhm.
Okay. Then I'll give you guys about 4 minutes and 30 seconds. Listen and don't forget to mute yourselves while you're listening so that we don't have lots of noise in the background. Thanks, guys. Go ahead. All right. Hopefully most of you got to listen to the whole thing. Sorry, Ken, I know you probably didn't. Let's start to discuss it. All right. So it was long, it was fast, we heard lots of different people talking, so it's not the easiest audio, but it's good practice for real life. And if you listen to this maybe 2 or 3 more times after class, that's definitely going to aid your learning and your ear. This is a great exercise. So I asked a couple questions before we actually had the listening exercise. The first one was, what are the 2 different kinds of stress? Essen, did you hear the 2 different kinds of stress that they were talking about?
Oh, actually, I just hear one of them. I couldn't miss the other one, but chronic stress is one of them, but I don't know the other one.
They talked about chronic stress. Excellent. Thanks, Essen. Javier, did you hear the 2 kinds of stress that they were talking about?
I think she's referring to the day-to-day stress, and another stress is provoked by the major life events.
Yeah, those were the 2 main kinds they were talking about in this report. Day-to-day stress and chronic stress, like Essen mentioned, and then major life events, where something huge happens. Thanks, Javier. And question number 2 is, what are some effects of stress? Antonio, can you give me one effect you heard from stress?
Well, the effect to the to the stress, it could be for example, chronic. Sorry. I think I did cancer or chronic or problem with the hair. No.
Yep. Heart disease, cancer. Rafael, did you hear any other effects of stress?
Okay, I confess that I have a terrible memory, but what I can remember is you get really upset when you are stressed, and you stop breathing deeply. What else? It affects your sleeping time, especially if you drink alcohol to release your stress, because it says that if you drink alcohol, it can release your stress temporarily, but you're not going to sleep well.
Definitely. Thanks, Rafael. And Ken, I know you probably didn't get to listen to the whole thing, but tell us a little bit about what you heard and what you thought was important from the audio.
Yeah, maybe the kind of chronic stress and commuting or kind of, and it mentions about meditation to reduce stress.
Do you use meditation, Ken?
Sometimes short meditation, not the kind of I just lie in a bed and or listen to the ambient music, or maybe
Very cool.
things like that. Yeah.
Great way to relax, for sure. All right. So do you guys have any questions from the audio before we move on and read a little bit of this article? Okay. Then I'm going to put my screen share back up and we'll read together. All right. This time, let's start with Ken. Can you read these first 2 paragraphs for us?
Okay. Chronic stress is hazardous to health and can lead to early death from heart disease, cancer, and of other health problems. But it turns out it doesn't matter whether the stress comes from major events in life or from minor problems. Both can be deadly. And it may be that it's not the stress from major life events like divorce, illness, and jobs loss trickled down to everyday life that gets you. It's how you react to the smaller everyday stress.
Thank you very much. We have a couple vocabulary terms here. We have this phrase, trickle down. So he says, or the author says, that they assumed that these major life events would trickle down. So if you're getting a divorce, that would make everything else in your life a little more stressful. But that's not necessarily true. But what about this phrase, trickle down? Can anyone define the phrase trickle down for me?
Yes, actually, it's basically when something happens which is bad, it's going to be like more and more, and you're going to feel more stressful about everything. So I'm not sure if I'm clear.
Yeah. So it's kind of a cause and effect thing, right?
Yes, for
That's a
example,
good start.
And for example, if you feel bad at work and after that you're going home and maybe you have a discussion with your wife and it's going to be more and more stuff like that.
Definitely. Anyone else want to add to our definition for trickle down? So she's totally right. It's a cause and effect. Something big kind of comes down to affect all other parts. And we can also think of it kind of like rain. We use the word trickle sometimes for rain because it's coming from the top down. So it's like this downward motion. And you can think of these major life events, rain as well. Like you've got this big rain cloud of divorce over your head and all the water gets into the rest of the areas of your life. All right. And the other word I wanted to talk about was hazardous. Can someone define the word hazardous?
Harmful.
Yes, harmful, exactly. Great summary. Any other questions from these two paragraphs? All right, then let's move on to the next two. These two are for Antonio.
Okay. The most stressed out people have the highest risk of premature death, according to one study that followed 1,293 men for years. People who always perceived their daily life to be over the top stressful were 3 times more likely to die over the period of study than people who rolled with the punches and didn't find daily life very stressful, according to Caroline Aldwin. She directs the Center for Healthy Aging Research at Oregon State University and led the study, which is scheduled for publication in the journal Experimental Gerontology.
Thank you very much. That was a tough paragraph. So, a few vocabulary words from here. Someone define over the top for us. What does over the top mean?
Always in the top, like in a mountain, the cliff.
Yeah, exactly. The peak, the top.
Yeah.
Sure, something that's too much. What about roll with the punches? They compare a person that rolls with the punches to the opposite, which is a person who's always very stressed out. So what does it mean if you roll with the punches?
You don't get stressed easily
Mm-hmm.
because you can adapt to the situations, I think.
Yes, exactly. Adaptable, flexible. Awesome. Any other vocabulary questions from these two paragraphs? Okay, then I want to know what you guys are. I want to know if you're the kind of person that rolls with the punches, or are you on edge? Are you kind of like type A personality, very stressed out. Essen, which do you think? Are you more on the side of being frequently stressed or more on the side of being relaxed and no problems?
Actually, it depends on which period of my life I'm in. So, for example, if I'm having a problem with my friends, I can't handle with my other problems. But everything is okay in my life. I can handle with that.
Mm-hmm.
So it depends.
All right. Depends on the outside events going on. Okay. Rafael, are you more relaxed or a little more uptight?
I think it depends on the situation. When it comes to traffic, I don't roll with the punches because it's really stressful to me, and that's what I'm trying to change in my life. I need to live next to my work, nearly, I mean.
Yeah,
But when it
cutting
comes
down on that time would be
to
nice.
day-to-day, day-by-day stress, I try to roll with the punches because sometimes we give too much attention to small problems and it's not right.
Totally. Good idea. All right. Javier, do you
Yes.
roll with the punches or are you a little more stressed out?
I try to deal with the punches. For example, I had a lot of stress in my last job, and I could manage it because I try to be very organized with my tasks, and then it was the only solution to deal the stress. If you had a lot of tasks to do, for example, and you are not organized, I think the situation is going to overcome you.
Mm-hmm. Very true. All right. Thanks, Javier. Antonio, what do you think?
Over.
Are you a roll with the punches kind of guy or are you a little more uptight and stressed out?
Well, maybe now I am a bit more roll with the punches because I think 3 or 4 years ago I lived very stressed, and then I realized it's bad for my health. Then I decided to change, and I think it's a good election because I follow to do things, a lot of things, but different, more peaceful, no more. A moment, please. More quiet,
Mm-hmm.
more quietly.
Definitely. All right. So now you try to roll with the punches more than you used to. Good decision. And Ken, tell us, are you a little more uptight or do you try to roll with the punches as much as possible?
I'm basically I'm an uptight person, so
I'm glad we have
I
one
want
person
to
that
be.
can admit it.
I want to be head over, punch over the something. Yeah,
The person who rolls with the punches.
I roll with the punches. Yes.
Yes. Well, I'm glad we have at least one honest person here, because I think sometimes I'm a little more stressed out than I like to admit. I like to be like, oh, I'm relaxed, I'm easy, no big deal. But really, I can get really stressed out sometimes, especially if I'm late. I hate being late for something. That really stresses me out. So here in Brazil, sometimes that's a problem because it's easy to run late. But on the whole, it's better to roll with the punches, I know. All right, so let's get back into our article. Any other comments or questions before we move on to the next 2 paragraphs? Okay, then next up is Javier. Let me get my screen share up so you know where we are. All right, Javier, read these 2 paragraphs for us.
Some people get frantic, sitting in bumper-to-bumper traffic, worried about being late or not being able to do what they hope in a timely manner. Others simply take the time to sit back, listen to music, and appreciate the break as some quiet time. Now, getting upset in traffic once is no big deal, but it things like that happen all the time, and the response is always getting really upset. Then the harmful effects of stress can become toxic.
Thank you very much. A couple vocabulary phrases. The first one is frantic. Can anyone define that for us?
Frantic is frenetic.
So what would that mean? How would a person act if they were being frantic?
When you are in a rush, you are making something very quickly, something like that.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of energy that goes into it, kind of like a crazy energy, stressful energy. All right. And what about bumper-to-bumper traffic? Rafael, do you know what bumper-to-bumper traffic is?
I have no idea.
I bet you've experienced it before. Can anyone else explain what bumper-to-bumper traffic is?
Maybe the heavy traffic jam?
Yes, it is so.
Go ahead. It is the heavy traffic jam. And Essen, finish what you were saying.
I would say that it is so crowded when it's so crowded, like when you are very close to next car.
Yes, exactly. So you guys are all right. You're describing the same thing, really heavy traffic. And this little ridge on the bottom of a car is called a bumper. So you have a bumper in the front here and a bumper in the back. And it's kind of like if you get into a small accident, that area protects you. But when we say bumper to bumper, it means when the front of one car is basically touching the back of another car. And bumper-to-bumper traffic would be like this, where we have lots of cars all lined up very close together. Awesome. Any other vocabulary questions from these two paragraphs? All right. Then next up, Rafael, can you read these two paragraphs for us?
There are a number of ways chronic stress can kill you, says Aldrin. That includes increased level of cortisol, often referred to as the stress hormone. Elevated cortisol levels interfere with learning and memory, lower immune function and bone density, and increase blood pressure, cholesterol, and heart disease. If you are one of those chronically upset worries, Dr. Robert Waldinger, psychiatrist at Massachusetts General Hospital and Harvard University, has a prescription for you: exercise.
Thank you very much. Any questions from these two paragraphs? All right, I think those were pretty straightforward vocabulary paragraphs. And Essen, will you read these next two?
Okay. If you could give one magic pill that would improve physical health, mood, reduce weight, this would be it, Waldinger says. Federal health officials recommend 30 minutes of moderate aerobic activity every day. When it comes to fighting stress, Waldinger says that's enough. When they do studies particularly of the mood benefit, they find that more than 30 minutes a day is not necessary. You don't get any boost. So, if you think just in terms of stress, relief, and antidepressant effect, 30 minutes is enough. I think I am done. Can you hear me?
Oh, sorry, I was unmuted. I was talking to you guys. Yeah, you're done. How about the vocabulary word boost? They're talking about the benefits of exercise, and we hit the vocabulary word boost. Can anyone describe or define the word boost for us?
Reinforce, beef up.
Yeah, reinforce, beef up. It's talking about these benefits. All right. So they recommend exercise. I want to know what you guys do to ease your daily stress. So when you're feeling stressed out, what do you do? Ken, you mentioned that you do meditation sometimes, or you just let yourself relax and let your mind go. You can tell us more about that, or anything else you do to relieve your stress?
How can I say it? Short exercise, walking 30 minutes and swimming 50 minutes. But these are really refresh me and change my mood.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it works. Exercise works to reduce stress.
Awesome. Exercise, meditation.
It's
You got it all.
not necessarily a long, hard exercise. Just mild, smiley pace exercise, and even in a short minutes, it works.
Yeah, totally. All right, thanks, Ken. Antonio, what do you do when you're really stressed out to help just pass the stress or distract yourself?
Sorry. Well, when I feel stressed, yes, I try to write down the things I have to do and relax. A bit of time, but relax is better. To do the things better after that.
Mm-hmm. So when you're relaxing, what do you do? Read, watch TV, or kind of just meditate and lay down for a few minutes?
I usually go out of the home of the place where I stay and work, because if I run, I'm very tired.
Yes, running is
I
tough,
want to
but
do
walking is
sport,
nice.
but not relax, because it's difficult to restart the job.
Yeah, totally true. All right, good idea, Antonio. Javier, when you're really stressed out, what do you do to relieve some of that stress?
I think the best thing you can do is to stop and leave the task or the thing you are doing and go out to walk, running, or what you like. Stop, write down the tasks that are stressful in you, and try to organize. It's
Mm-hmm.
better to stop because if you don't go out of the situation that is stressing you, you can manage it.
Mm-hmm. Very true. So take a few minutes away to think.
Mhm. Yeah.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Thanks, Javier. Rafael, what do you do to manage your stress when you're feeling really stressed out? Rafael? Are you there? Okay. Essen.
Okay. When I'm feeling very stressed out, most of the time I order kind of fast food and I watch a South Park episode, so it is helpful for me.
That sounds actually like a pretty good way to totally forget about your problems. A big meal and some silly TV.
Yes, I think so.
Definitely. Awesome. And Rafael, you're not there? No? Okay. All right, then let's get back to our article. All right. Here we are, and I think we're back to Ken. Will you read us the next two paragraphs?
Okay. Another option would be to add meditation to your daily routine. For many people, that can make a big difference. Waldinger says, because what you do is watch your mind spin out anxiously over trivia, and eventually it settles down and you begin to have more perspective. Breathing may be the simplest and most immediate fix. Edwin says, take a step back when you feel yourself getting upset. Step back psychologically and eventually physically, she recommends, and then watch your breathing. People who get upset a lot breathe very rapidly and shallowly, and it creates more anxiety. Breathing slowly from the abdomen helps slow the stress response, she says.
Thank you very much. So how about the word abdomen? Right here. What is your abdomen?
Lower, no, upper, kind of upper, how can I say, stomach area.
Yeah, exactly. Your stomach area. It's kind of hard to describe, but it's like, the area below your chest, but above your legs, this kind of like trunk area of your body.
Actually, it's not that hard to explain, like six packs, their abdomen.
Yeah, true. For people who have six packs, it's pretty easy to find.
Can I say upper belly for abdomen?
Yeah, sure. Upper belly, that works. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. And what about shallowly? What is something that's shallow? So it's the opposite of the good kind of breathing, right?
Yeah, kind of opposite to deep. So shallow breath is not good for the stability of our mind.
Yes, exactly. So they said deep breathing is good, and this rapid, fast, shallow, which means it's the opposite of deep breathing, is kind of creates more anxiety. Any other Yes, great example. Any other vocabulary questions from these two paragraphs here? How about trivia? Can someone define trivia for us?
Trivial things with no important.
Yeah, little things.
Little things.
Exactly. Okay. Then let's finish up. And it's Antonio's turn to read these last couple paragraphs.
Okay. And finally, Waldinger says, here's something not to do. Don't overdo alcohol. It feels in the moment like having that extra drink at night eliminates stress because it relaxes you, but it turns out that alcohol disturbs sleep, and it also acts as a depressant. Some stress is inevitable for everyone, Waldinger says, but stress-related disease doesn't have to be.
All right, vocabulary word inevitable. Inevitable.
Inevitable.
Inevitable.
Inevitable.
And what's the definition for inevitable?
Who is impossible to change.
Impossible to change or avoid. Something that's kind of guaranteed, right? Like some stress is unavoidable for people. It's impossible to totally avoid stress, but we should try to roll with the punches and not feel too much. Any other vocabulary questions from these last two paragraphs or from anything else in the article? Okay.
Overdo means, how can I say, over drinking or overdoing something?
Yeah, it's a pretty general term, but you're totally right. To overdo something means too much. Could mean, in this case, too much alcohol. But if you overdo, some people overdo work and they work too much.
Mm-hmm. I see. Okay.
Great vocab question. Any other questions?
No.
All right. So we've been talking a lot about stress over this article, and actually, let's summarize the article first. Let's talk a little bit. I'll have every person give me like one little piece of information that they remember from this article, and then we're going to go on to a writing exercise. Essen, give us one little piece of information that you remember from this article that you maybe learned today or thought was interesting.
Okay, so if you want to get your stress out, you have to exercise for 30 minutes for a day, so it would be enough.
Great tip. Thanks, Essen. Rafael, one fact or interesting idea that we read in this article today?
Mm, not fair because I would say that. And for me, it's interesting because when we think about exercise, the first thing that comes to our minds is exercise for you to look cool, to look fine, because we want to look fine. But actually, it is important for our health, inner health, I mean. And 30 minutes exercise is enough, but also don't drink too much.
Mm-hmm.
What else? Try to roll with the punches, and I will try it.
All right. Thanks, Rafael. Javier, give us one other thing that we read in this article.
I remember the breathing. When you feel really stressed, only by deeply breathing, you can stop that situation. Is your first line of defense.
Definitely. That's a great suggestion. Antonio, one more thing that you read in the article or thought was interesting?
Well, I remember the problems who could if you lived a lot of stress, although it be little things. Little things repeat is like a big thing.
Yep, exactly. Awesome. And Ken, you have the hard job. You're the last one. Is there anything else that you read in this article?
Yeah, 30 minutes mild, moderate aerobic how can I say, exercise can work, and meditation also work. And in the short solution, the shortest solution for this is how to breathe. Yeah, deep breath, or yeah, that kind of technique can work. Yeah.
Great summary. Okay. So now that we've summarized everything, we've talked about all the questions, I want to know what you guys think about stress in general, because stress here, we're kind of talking about it as a pretty negative thing. Is stress always negative? I want to know what you guys think about stress. But this time, write your ideas in the chat box. So I want 2 sentences from every person describing if they think stress is always a bad thing or if it's sometimes good and sometimes bad. So write your responses in the chat box and try to use some vocabulary from the article. We read some great words that you might be able to use in your response. And if you guys have any questions while you're writing, just let me know. You can have maybe like 2 minutes to finish everything up, a minute per sentence, and then we'll talk about it. right, try to get your sentences in. Excellent. Okay. Ken, go ahead and read us your sentences.
The stressless situation is also stressful. Therefore, to get a proper amount of stress and to know how to deal with it makes your life happier.
Okay, so when you say stressless situation is also stressful, what do you mean?
Kind of, it's almost like a word for it, but if 100% stressless situation, maybe human feel very uncomfortable, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
sound, no stimulation, and that's also stressful. That's what I meant.
Mm-hmm. I
So,
agree. I totally think you're right there.
so
And I would put an article, I would say a stressless situation is also stressful,
okay,
or I would make it plural. Stressless situations are
okay.
also stressful.
Mhm.
But other than that, great ideas. Thanks, Ken.
Thank you.
All right, Javier, you're up next. Read us yours and tell us what you were thinking when you wrote.
I think that stress is not always bad. At work, it forces you to be more organized and to be more creative to overcome the situation.
All right, so it's a force for positivity and good ideas.
Mhm. I think sometimes at work, if you are in a stable situation with no pressure, you tend to be more comfortable at job and to relax too much. Then
Yeah.
a bit of stress sometimes is good.
Yes, people get lazy, right? Without
Yeah,
stress,
yeah,
people get lazy.
absolutely.
All right, thanks, Javier. Rafael, read us yours.
Generally, stress is a negative fact in our lives, but it may be positive if you use it to pull you further. I don't hear you.
Sorry. Very nice. So, have you ever used stress to pull you further and advance your goals?
Yes, because sometimes we need to leave the comfort zone. If you feel too comfortable, that's what people were saying before. You get lazy, you don't change, and sometimes we need stressful situations to make us change.
Very true. Excellent. Thanks. And Essen, read us yours.
Okay, stress can be hazardous to our health, but sometimes being a little bit stressful can help to push ourselves, then we can finish our works on time or earlier. And it looks like we have a consensus about that as a class.
And this is something you mentioned even in the beginning of class, because you said you're looking forward to the beginning of your semester, even though you know it's going to be stressful. Right now, you're just like, you want it to start, right? You want that stress.
Yeah.
Definitely. One small correction, instead of saying being a little stressful, you probably should say being a little stressed with an ED at the end, because stressful is when you're causing it. So like if I were causing other people to be stressed, I would be stressful.
Oh, okay.
But if I'm feeling the stress, then I'm with an ED stressed.
Oh, okay. Okay, thanks.
All right. Thanks, Essen. And Antonio, read us yours.
Stress could be or can be more or less good to do your to work really fast and well, but it's necessary to know to control the stress and not that the stress controls you.
Hey, that's a good point. So a little is good, but don't let it take over your life.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
necessary
that's
to
good.
control because if not, you can go
Yeah,
badly.
great advice. All right, guys, any other comments or questions before we finish up today? Okay. I have a class starting in 2 minutes on conditionals. So if you need a review or would like to have some more information on exactly how we form conditionals, you can join that class. And if not, then I will see you guys another time, and I look forward to it. Thanks, everyone.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Very much.
Goodbye.
Bye
Bye.
bye.
Bye.